And I am Anki Guta. We're so glad you're watching today, the day Francis Kimanzi was shown the door as the national team coach. Joining us now is KTN's Edith Kimani. Edith, what are you going to be telling us about the plight of the Harambee Stars in soccer generally?
Thank you. And we'll be looking at the number of coaches who've been there from 1993, actually. There's been about 20 of them. We're finding out why exactly there have been so many and why they have failed to elevate the national team to the levels that their fans expect them to be at.
All right, thanks, Edith. We look forward to that. In a short while, let's take you now straight to our top stories this hour.
We call on you to extend financial support to fill any gaps that may remain.
Elections, now the government asks for donor funding.
Teachers demand 300% pay rise.
Kimanzi shown the door after a string of poor performance.
And is the Mongiki regrouping ahead of the next general election?
Welcome wherever you're watching us from, terrestrial TV, satellite TV, and now we're on digital, www.ktnkenya.tv. This is KTN Prime.
Well, barely days after the government insisted that the 17 billion shillings allocated to the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission was more than adequate, Prime Minister Raila Odinga today led senior government officials to plead with donor countries from the West to boost IEBC's election kitty.
KTN's Ashamwilu attended the roundtable talks in Nairobi and brings us the story.
2012-2013 is an election year.
Just 5 days after Finance Minister Njeru Githai presented the country's fiscal policy, assuring Kenyans that
the fiscal framework for 2012-2013 budget is fully financed and there is no financing gap.
Prime Minister Raila Odinga seems to be reading from a different script.
We call on you to extend financial support to fill any gaps that may remain.
During a partnership forum involving the government and donor partners, calls for a boost to the IEBC kitty raised eyebrows, especially after Treasury-backed MPs in slashing the IEBC's initial 35 billion shilling budget to 17.5 billion shillings.
It is equally critical that elections are conducted in such a manner that the results will be credible and be seen to represent the will of the people of Kenya.
Out of the 1.45 trillion shilling budget, Githai confirmed that the taxpayers will cater for 840 billion shillings and the rest will be raised through donor funding. Already, Kenya has received 225 billion shillings from development partners, a 22.9% increase from the previous financial year. The argument now being that the state is over-relying on donors.
Kenya is living beyond its means. To reduce these deficits, government policy should create incentives to reduce consumption, accumulate savings, and promote investments.
What's more, the sour relationship between Kenya and the West could also affect the latest bid for a financial boost.
Funding the elections, this is something that China doesn't do. And when I look at the number of times I am contacted by Kenyan members of government for help, for small projects, for initiatives, I don't know if they go as much to the Chinese ambassador to ask for help.
For now, it remains unclear whether the donors will chip in to support the IEBC as the country warms up for the polls. Ashamwilu, KTN Prime.
It now emerges that the Treasury did not disburse the pending free education funds despite promises 2 weeks ago.
Well, the Kenyan National Union of Teachers has now issued a 2-day ultimatum for the monies or public schools will be closed and children sent home. Wilkis Tanyabwa reports.
For weeks, schools have waited for the government to disburse funds for the free primary and secondary day school programs. Now the Kenya National Union of Teachers has taken matters into its hands. The union has given the government 2 days within which to release the funds, failure to which it will mobilize public school heads to shut down the schools and send students home.
We are giving them up to Thursday
Otherwise, we are not going to tolerate any more talk.
2 weeks ago, Finance Minister Njeru Githai assured schools that 7 billion shillings would be wired to their accounts for the free education program. Out of this, 1.85 billion shillings was meant for the free primary education program, while 5.15 billion shillings had been set aside for the free day secondary education program. Schools are yet to receive this money. Trouble is also looming elsewhere in the education sector, with the 7 remaining commissioners of the Teacher Service Commission set to retire by July, causing fears that operations at TSC would grind to a halt.
The only way of saving TSC is to pass the bill so that it can facilitate the process of appointing new commissioners, which also takes time.
The teachers are threatening to go on strike come July because the finance minister failed to factor in their demands for better remuneration in the budget speech.
Unless the teachers' salaries are increased by about 300%, and also responsibility allowances and even leave allowances are factored in, the teachers of this country will have no option but to down their tools.
Wilkison Abwa, KTN Prime.
Francis Kimanzi has been sacked as the coach of the national football team. But in an interesting twist, Kimanzi was named the technical director of Harambee Stars. The Football Kenya Federation Executive Committee, which met today, fired the entire technical bench and is now seeking the services of a foreign coach.
The painful truth is that Kenya had not been South Africa during the 2013 Africa Cup of Nations finals. For Kenya, it remains a case of being so close yet so far. Since qualifying for the finals in Tunisia in 2004, it has been one miss after another for Kenya. And every time the national team misses out, the respective administration moves quickly to fire the coach, sometimes without seeking to deal with the real issues.
We have to have another technical director who can do a proper job.
From 1961 to date, Kenya has had 34 coaches, an average of a coach a year. Ivory Coast, the highly ranked team in Africa, has had 8 coaches since 1993, while Spain, the top FIFA ranked football side, has had 5. Kenya has had 20 coaches in the same period, and yet not so much can be said about Kenya's results during the period. Marshall Muller remains by far the most successful local coach, followed by Jacob Gos Mulee, who led Kenya to the 2004 Africa Cup of Nations finals in Tunisia, where Harambee Stars were knocked out at the group stages after losing 2 games and winning 1. The late Reinhard Fabisch, a crowd favorite, is one of the foreign-based coaches credited with sourcing and nurturing talent from the grassroots. It therefore begs the question, are the respective coaches not facilitated, or are their hands tied by the ruling federation from sourcing for talented players outside Nairobi? Why, for example, does the national team seem to have players from a certain club or locality? Beats logic.
Yule jamaa amepewa jukumu la kuangalia mambo ya mpira, technical chairman. Ni kama kidogo tena pia na yeye hasikizani na Kimanzi.
What is the federation's long-term solution? Most of the local coaches have played with some players in the squad they are coaching, and it becomes difficult to contain these players.
It's even selected players who are not even having clubs, unattached clubs.
Coaching is a mental issue, and foreign coaches seem to have an edge over the local coaches, going by their past record.
You have to compare also the quality that you've got. If it is the quality that you believe, you can put the coach, under real pressure tomorrow to deliver.
Kenya has never qualified for the World Cup, while the last time the country was in Africa Cup of Nations was in 2004. Should the country take a 2-year sabbatical leave and clean its house, since going back to the drawing board far too many times has not bore any fruits? Reporting for KTN Prime, I'm Hassan Juma.
And that story brings us to tonight's big question. We're asking, is the sacking of Kimanzi the solution to Kenya's football problems? Is sacking Kimanzi the solution to Kenya's football problems? Please do send us your brief comments, beginning with a yes or no to our SMS number. It's 8040. We will be sampling some of your views at the end of this live newscast. Joining us now is KTN's Edith Kimani. And Edith, I want to begin with the recent loss that the Stars had to Togo, a crucial game. How far do you think that particular loss influenced today's decision of Kimanzi's sacking?
I think it was imperative, because what FKF is saying saying is that Kimanzi underperformed. And if you remember, he had 2 losses before that, one to Malawi and one to Botswana, and then the final straw with Togo. That must have definitely played a huge role in that. But, you know, Francis Kimanzi may have been axed from the Kenya national team, but this is not news for him, and that's exactly what we're looking at this evening. He has been fired twice before and then hired back 3 times for the same job. And this has sadly been the story of Kenyan coaches in the Kenya national team for years now. And as our senior reporter Hassan Juma mentioned in that last story, Kenya has had 20 coaches from 1993. And we're going to look at some of the familiar names and what they did, or rather what they did not do. And we begin with Jacob Ghost Mulee. This man, or Ghost, as is fondly known, first took charge of the national team between 2003 and 2004, where he famously led Kenya to the Africa Cup of Nations, bowing out at the group stages after losing 2 games and picking 3 points from Burkina Faso. Mulee then returned for a brief second spell in 2005, which lasted just 1 day. Yes, that's absolutely right. He was coach from 16th December to 17th December. Ghost then returned to Kenya for a 3rd time in March 2007, and then for a 4th stint beginning September 2010. He, however, quit the coaching job 3 months later in December 2010, following a run of 3 defeats in the 2010 Sekafa Cup. After that, we had Twahir Muhyiddin. Now, Muhyiddin had a rather brief and somewhat colorless stint as the national coach between this period of 2004 and 2005 when he took over from Mulee. His controversial appointment was perhaps the most memorable thing about him as coach, with allegations that he was related to one of the federation officials. He was to return later as coach in September 2010, but quit soon after, following the national team's 1-0 loss to Guinea-Bissau in the Cup of Nations qualifiers. After that, there was Mohamed Kerry, who replaced Muhyiddin. But in 2006, the Kenyan team welcomed Frenchman Bernard Lama, a World Cup winning goalkeeper with the French team in 1998. But the disappointment came after he lost his debut match at home to Eritrea in September 2006 during an African Nations Cup qualifier, and he quit just 2 months later, citing lack of professionalism of the Kenya Football Federation. After that, there was the very famous Antoine Hey. Now, Antoine Hey was a retired German footballer who played the Bundesliga and was employed in February 2009. But by November of that same year, he had left the team in a most dramatic way. Now, during his short spell as the Harambee Stars coach, he's said to have streamlined the players, although that was about it. His big pay was a topic of much debate, with figures like 800,000 and 1 million shillings floated as his alleged pay per month during his stay here. Now, Hey, however, abandoned the team in their greatest hour of need as they prepared to meet the Nigerian Super Eagles for the final World Cup qualifier match. After Hey, there was the former Gor Mahia and Harambee Stars defense kingpin Zedekiah Zico Otieno. Zico, as is popularly known, took over from Hey, as football fans will remember, on an interim basis to coach the national team in 2010. He, however, did not register much success with the team and was soon replaced by Kimanzi. Kimanzi now becomes Kenya's latest or newest former coach to join 33 other coaches before him. Now, the former Mathare United midfielder was appointed full-time manager of the Kenyan national side in December 2008, having held the post in a caretaker position since May of that same year. He was then sacked from the post of national team coach after the 2008 Sekafa Cup in January 2009 due to disputes between him and the Kenya football administrators. After 1 year of coaching the club side Sofapaka, he was then reappointed back as the head coach of the Kenya national team in November 2011 until today, when he was sacked. Which way will Harambee Stars go? Well, that's what we're wondering. And do we need a foreign coach? That's definitely the question that the sports team will be looking for. So do stay tuned for that. But to other stories of the day, police in Rabai have rescued an elderly woman from mob justice after neighbors attacked her, accusing her husband of practicing witchcraft. Angry villagers claimed the accused had cast a spell on the area, subjecting the locals to drought.
The Kaya elders held an emergency meeting at Batani village in Rabai before proceeding 4 kilometers away to Mkomani village at the home of the man they believe is responsible for failed rains and therefore failed crop. The suspect was not at his home, but the elders would not believe what his wife told them and proceeded to search for the man in every hideout they could think of.
Hata akirudi hapa sasa hali itakuwa si nzuri vile, unless pengine aondoke aende mahali pengine.
The elders claim their suspect had declared that the area would be dry for a decade.
Wasema kuwa nyinyi Warabai na wachukulia miaka 10 bila kunyamvua kwa sababu nyinyi matajiri kwa sababu ya hii minazi.
Frustrated that they could not find their suspect, the Kaya elders directed their anger at his wife. They demanded that she shows them where her husband allegedly kept witchcraft paraphernalia. The area chief had a hard time deterring the attackers from their mission. Police arrived soon and rescued the woman from her attackers.
Ambaye ana hakika kabisa huyu mama ni mchawi, na aje kule ofisini, mwende muandikishe statement, apelekwe kotini tukiwa tuko na ushahidi wa kutosha. Sasa
the residents maintain that the suspect and his family must leave the area so that it can rain again and their crop can thrive. This is a classic example of a community that has defied education and will blame just anything or anyone for things beyond their control. Ansu Mwendia, KTN Prime.
Stranger than fiction indeed. I'm Edith Kimani. That's all for me this evening, and I hand you back over to Anne Kiguta to take you through the rest of the bulletin. Anne?
Thanks very much, Edith. Well, is the outlawed Mungiki sect regrouping? That is the question security forces are grappling with in light of what they say is a change in tack by the militant gang that has caused much suffering in parts of Central and Nairobi provinces. But former Mungiki leader Maina Njenga has refuted the allegations. KTN's senior investigative reporter Dennis Onsarigo now reports on a group that is causing anxiety among political and security circles.
By July 2007, the militant gang Mungiki had claimed more than 200 lives, among them those of 11 police officers, in months of bloodletting in parts of Central and Nairobi. When the government finally moved in, the number of Mungiki followers was drastically reduced, some forced to disappear, with the badly injured Mungiki leadership claiming that as many as 5,000 of their followers were killed by security agencies. 6 years on, security agencies are raising the red flag. Mungiki is back, but not the Mungiki that openly extorted money from matatu owners. The group is now streaming back to their old fold and habits.
Yes, Mungiki is regrouping in large numbers in Central Province in the name of churches. It is now not in the name of collecting money from matatu owners.
But the man who was once a leader of the militant gang and now claims to be a church leader says politics is central in the latest pronouncement from the government.
Is this Maina Njenga a Mungiki leader in the name of a pastor?
I received the Holy Spirit when I was in prison. I had good teaching in prison.
The large numbers Maina Njenga has been drawing in political rallies and the launch of a political party a week ago appears to be sending jitters in Central Province.
Politicians were using these young boys. They were using them on their own benefit. But now we have refused to be used by anybody. We want to stand on our own. We pray our own God and we do our own things.
According to the police, politics is not the reason why security agencies raised an alarm over increased Mungiki activity in Central Province. The force says Mungiki is back, but with a different phase.
Now they have painted a very old Ford, which was red. Now they have painted it white.
The National Security Intelligence Services only last week warned that political leaders are now cutting deals with militant gangs ahead of the general elections.
So every person who believes in me believes in God, because God is the one who has sent me to come and talk to his people.
I leave it for the bishops to decide. I'm a policeman. If that statement justifies a religious person who is a priest.
Political leaders have cautiously been watching from a distance the numbers Maina Njenga is pulling to his side in political rallies and in church functions. So has been a police force worried that maybe Mungiki is back but in charge. Denison Sarigo, KTN Prime.
From the story of one outlawed group to another, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission is tonight asking the government to quickly initiate dialogue with the leaders of the outlawed Mombasa Republican Council in order to prevent chaos at the coast. Patrick Amimo reports.
Part of MRC.
It was at this meeting with members of the Joint Parliamentary Committee on Equal Opportunities and National Security that Mzalendo Kibunja's team revealed they have held 3 secret meetings with the section of leaders of the outlawed Mombasa Republican Council.
We made them clandestinely because they were afraid they would be arrested.
The House Committee would like to meet with the MRC leaders, but Kibunja says the group has placed some conditions.
I'm going to plead with the government not to arrest them because this is a committee of parliament. We would suggest that to you, that if all the youth that have been arrested over this matter are released or given free bond, it may be a good gesture of the government.
Kibunja told the committee that besides demanding that the government lift the ban declaring the group illegal, MRC leaders are not ready to drop secessionist demands.
They keep on sending conflicting signals. And could that be an indication of the fact that the face, as you say, is not the real leadership of MRC?
We don't know who really is the entire face of MRC, but the people that we have been speaking to, they say they have a chairman.
NCIC believes wealthy individuals could be funding MRC activities given the quick payments on hefty fines imposed on arrested members plus lawyers representing them. It was disclosed that MRC has been on a mission to indoctrinate youth at the coast on its secessionist agenda.
Their narrative is very, very clear and precise, that they will speak to you and tell you what happened in 1896, and they will bring you through the entire history.
In Kaloleni, Mombasa, police arrested 8 youth suspected to be members of the proscribed MRC. The youth, among them a 14-year-old, were found with documents identifying them with MRC. Police also recovered from them membership recruitment receipts, where sympathizers are required to pay a monthly subscription fee. The National Commission on Integration and Cohesion is concerned that the MRC ideology is fast spreading at Coast Province and wants the government to address the grievances as fast as possible. The other concern is, of course, the financials of MRC, who remain unknown. For KTN, I'm Patrick Amimo.
Time for a reminder of tonight's big question. We are asking, is the sacking of Francis Kimanzi the solution to Kenya's football problems?
You're sending in the SMSs on the number 8040. Thank you very much. Please continue sending them in. We'll give you the poll result at the end of this live newscast. Remember to give us your name and your texting in from.
Well, you are watching KTN Prime just ahead.
Somalis celebrate as Kenyan forces liberate Afmadow. Stay with us.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Chibi. I'm in high school. When I grow up, I want to be a banker because I liked playing the numbers when I was young. I want to use big because I want to write in the future.
Think big, write big.
SK
freshness. Indulge in fragrance. This is a life full of flavor. So enjoy good health. You belong to me. And new beginnings. And I belong to you. Welcome to Pwani Life.
Cities were growing by the day, but as the new buildings grew taller, the roads surrounding them just couldn't keep up. Then along came the Michelin Man, reminding us that the right tire changes everything. Stronger, more durable, the Michelin Energy XM2 tire is more resistant to pothole damage. Michelin, a better way forward.
For more information on pothole guarantee, call Kingsway Tire Expert Centers countrywide.
And now, introducing another one. Triple distilled Crescent Vodka, now available from the home of quality. Truly Kenyan.
Every day our hands pick and transfer germs from different surfaces to us. Even hands that look clean can have lots of unseen germs. Kids, go wash your hands now. And because soaps are usually shared by more than one person, they can become dirty, leading to multiple germ transfer. That's why I prefer to use Dettol Liquid Hand Wash. Every drop is pure because it's untouched by other hands. Dettol Liquid Hand Wash gives 10 times more protection against germs that cause diarrhea and other infectious diseases, leaving hands hygienically clean. For a healthy family, use Dettol Antibacterial Hand Wash. Dettol, endorsed by the Kenyan Medical Association. Be 100% sure.
At UAP, we enhance lives across Africa. Insurance, investment management, property investment, and financial advisory. UAP, better, simple life.
Cities were growing by the day, but as the new buildings grew taller, the roads surrounding them just couldn't keep up. Then along came the Michelin Man, reminding us that the right tire changes everything. Stronger, more durable, the Michelin Energy XM2 tire is more resistant to pothole damage. Michelin, a better way forward.
For more information on pothole guarantee, call Kingsway Tire Expert Centers countrywide.
Every day our hands pick and transfer germs from different surfaces to us. Even hands that look clean can have lots of unseen germs. Kids, Go wash your hands now. And because soaps are usually shared by more than one person, they can become dirty, leading to multiple germ transfer. That's why I prefer to use Dettol Liquid Hand Wash. Every drop is pure because it's untouched by other hands. Dettol Liquid Hand Wash gives 10 times more protection against germs that cause diarrhea and other infectious diseases, leaving hands hygienically clean. For a healthy family, use Dettol Antibacterial Hand Wash. Dettol, endorsed by the Kenyan Medical Association. Be 100% sure.
The Kabarak University Half Marathon will be held on 30th June 2012 in Mogotio town. The race begins from 6 a.m. at the equator and finishes at the Kabarak University grounds. Registration is 300 shillings for the 21-kilometer half marathon, 1,000 shillings for the 5-kilometer corporate race, and 100 shillings for the children's race. You can register at all transnational bank branches, Mobile World offices, and CAS offices North Rift. Registration closes on 25th June. There are great cash prizes and heifers to be won. Proceeds from the marathon will help support Ngata Baby Care for abandoned children. Kabarak University, world-class education in biblical perspective.
It takes 1 second to enter, 1 second to come out of hiding, and 1 second to attack you.
Mosquito bites cause malaria.
1 second to infect you.
Not anymore. Now I won't give any of you even 1 second.
New Mortin Doom Power Guard.
Mortin Doom!
Mortin Doom Power Guard with new scientifically proven powerful formula not only kills faster but also longer by killing mosquitoes that surface later, and it keeps killing for up to 1 week.
Even 1 second counts when it's my family's protection.
Come on, they're asleep.
New Mortin Doom Power Guard. Nothing kills faster and keeps killing for longer.
Not superhuman. I'm not superhuman. Someone save me from the hate. It's just another war. Just another family torn. Just a step from the edge. Just another day in the world we live. I need a hero to save me now. I need a hero. I need a hero to save my life. A hero will save me.
South Africa, because that's where the nearest rehabilitation center for spinal cord injuries is. I'm doing this to raise 250 million shillings for a facility of our own here.
Welcome back. You're still watching KTN Prime. Days after the Kenya Defense Force liberated Afmadow town from the yokes of the terror group Al-Shabaab, restoring calm to the area, the KTN crew visited the town.
KTN's Frank Otieno filed the following report from the newly emancipated Afmadow deep inside Somalia.
When the military chopper touches down in Afmadow town, we meet a committed troop of the Kenya Defense Force, which captured the Al-Shabaab stronghold 3 weeks ago. The Kenyan soldiers are instrumental here in liaison with Somalia's Transitional Federal Government TFG and Somali National Army SNA alongside the Ras Kamboni Brigade. It's a sigh of relief for residents here after the troops successfully drove away the militants who are known for extortion and killings. Brigadier General Ismail Shardid, the TFG leader, recounts how residents suffered in the hands of the insurgents.
Watu wa Al-Shabaab wanafanya hapa vibaya sana, wanachinja watu, wanachukua gombe, wanachukua mbuzi kila saa, wanasema leteni kwa sika. Hiyo ni ya sharia ya hii, alafu ni hiyo wanachukua duka kwa nyumba wote, kila mtu wanachukua pesa kila asubuhi.
Business activities are taking shape in Afmadow as KDF pitched tent here to assure residents of security, which was elusive during Al-Shabaab reign. Abdrashid, how is business here?
Yes, good business. Some business, the list are all the business.
Temporary administration is now in place after the appointment of Abdi Hakim Omar Haji as the district commissioner charged with the responsibility of overseeing administrative duties in the area.
Security is very well. Hiko KDF, Hiko SNA, Somali National Army, and Kiamboni, the soldiers is here. So everything is good. I say that.
General Ahmed Mohammed Alias Madobe leads the Ras Kamboni Brigade and now works closely with the KDF, TFG and SNA after abandoning Al-Shabaab after his followers disagreed with the doctrines of the Islamic Court Union ICU.
Were you once working closely with the Al-Shabaab group?
We were working after now to...
Before?
Yeah, before, yeah.
You were their leader?
No, I'm not leader, but we are together. Not for Al-Shabaab, but they were, ICU, we were together. A lot of things, but... when they left the right side, the way of the right way.
Capturing of Afmadow town is reason enough to get the Al-Shabaab fighters worried as they ran out of options in the town of Kismayo, which is an obvious offensive target by the troops deployed by the African Mission in Somalia, AMISOM. Reporting for KTN Prime from Afmadow, Somalia, I am Frank Otieno.
One of the pilots who perished in the chopper crash in Ngong last Sunday, Captain Nancy Gitwanja, was laid to rest today in Kandara constituency in Murang'a County.
The late Nancy was buried at a ceremony that was attended by cabinet ministers Esther Murugi and Jamle Kamau, amongst other MPs who praised Gitwanja as a dedicated officer.
Well, Police Commissioner Matthew Itere, who also attended the burial, asked Kenyans to be patient and wait for the report of the committee investigating the crash. KTN's Carol Derry now reports from Murang'a.
Captain Nancy Gitwanja Getao was laid to rest at her home in Kandara constituency, Murang'a County, at a somber ceremony attended by friends and relatives. The late captain was a superintendent in the police force where she has served for 13 years and was described by all who took to the podium as one who exercised her duties diligently.
Nancy has flown me to some God-forsaken places in Kenya. So she was not just a pilot, but also a colleague.
Her eldest daughter, Sharon Njambi, a class 3 pupil at the Makini School, paid tribute to her mother through this French poem.
T'es aussi toi beau, mais le plus joli que j'aime toi, mais le plus joli c'est pour maman.
However, the message that was echoed across was that of a speedy inquiry into the cause of the plane mishap that claimed the lives of 6 people.
Uchunguzi ufanywe kwa haraka. Mimi ni rubani na nilisema bunge.
Kuambiwa watu wafunge mdomo haitasaidia.
Hii kazi ifanyike haraka ndio tujue kiini ilikuwa nini.
Police Commissioner Matthew Itere, who was present at Nancy's send-off, asked Kenyans to be patient and wait for the committee in charge to complete its work and report its findings.
Ningetaka sisi wote we think outside the box. Speculation haitatusaidia. Ngoja tungoje. Hiyo mikasa yote. The entire aviation industry, even from different companies, they also want to know so that they can learn and avoid similar incidences.
The late Nancy Gitwanja is survived by her widower Peter Getao and 3 children. Captain Nancy Moruga Getwanja has been described as one who was diligent in her work as well as philanthropic. And in the speeches that have been made today, calls have been made into a speedy inquiry as to why the crash occurred, as well as compensation to the families affected. Carol Derry for KTN in Murang'a County.
Well, leaders in Makueni County are appealing to the government to sink more boreholes and rehabilitate existing ones. Led by Makueni Member of Parliament Peter Kielu, the leaders said the move will help alleviate a biting water shortage in Makueni County. Well, they spoke at the commissioning of a borehole in Zawi, Makueni County. KTN's Betty Chalo with the details.
This has been the norm in parts of Makueni constituency. However, after some money was raised by well-wishers from Norway under the Norway Support Group, a borehole was constructed, making life easy for residents of Mii area of Nzaowi. Local Member of Parliament Peter Kielu, while launching the borehole where he was joined by the well-wishers from Norway, said the region has many rivers which can't be harnessed to provide water to local residents. Kielu also asked government to build dams and water pans for irrigation purposes. Former nominated Member of Parliament Grace Mwewa, who represented Water Minister Charity Ngilu at the function held at Mii Secondary School, said boreholes in the region will be rehabilitated. Mwewa, who is a trustee with the Water Services Trust Fund, said the work was already underway with 3 water projects established in the county. Funds for the Mii water borehole were raised by well-wishers in Norway in an event organized by Karen Mweni, who resides in Norway. Parts of Makueni County are experiencing severe water shortage that is threatening many households. For KTN Prime, I'm Betty Kialo.
And you wonder, when an individual is preaching saying that people who believe in him believes in God, I leave it for the bishops to decide. I'm a policeman. If that statement justifies a religious person who is a priest or who is a reverend and who has followers.
It has been happening in Nairobi, but Omera, this time round it is coming in Kisumu. I'm talking about Rumba Night with Radio Maisa. It's going to be on Jumatano, or if you want to call it Wednesday, 20th June, inside Signature Hotel Omera. Not forgetting one and the only one. The grand DJ Mato Zibora will be bringing his things. Also, presenters kama watangazaji watakuwa ndani. Omera yawa Kisumu that day. Yatiwa itakuwa moto kama pasi. Ukikosa watakucheka. Okay.
Reads strength and wisdom beyond borders.
Come, my little player. Your shirt is dirty. You need to take a bath. Now. Adding trusted Dettol to your bathing water every day ensures a healthy bath even with not so clean water. Good health starts with a germ-free bath, and that's what my Dettol does for me. You smell healthy, like a champion. What does your Dettol do for you?
Dettol, endorsed by the Kenyan Medical Association. Be 100% sure.
Our country is set to go to the polls soon. This, the very first under the new constitution. You may ask,
kazi ya IEBC ni kazi gani?
Sasa hiyo uchaguzi itakuwa haki na ukweli.
Well, these are indeed urgent and very weighty issues.
Well, the law now says you don't require a voter's card in order to vote.
I think the chick should include the boyfriend sababu these things zimekuwa such a major issue in our society, so ndo mkuje to a conclusion so that hata kuwa na complication or anything, at least you the two of you itakuwa mtu mmoja.
I think the girl should involve the boyfriend in the decision. He's the one who will back up the financial needs. So in case they don't, she wants to use contraceptives to prevent her from getting pregnant. He should know.
I think you should involve your guy in case of as in any future complications, stress and vitu kama hizo.
Come, my little player. Your shirt is dirty. You need to take a bath. Now. Adding trusted Dettol to your bathing water every day ensures a healthy bath even with not so clean water. Good health starts with a germ-free bath, and that's what my Dettol does for me. You smell healthy, like a champion. What does your Dettol do for you?
Dettol, endorsed by the Kenyan Medical Association. Be 100% sure.
Just set the timer and it releases bursts of fresh fragrance automatically and brightens your home. Something in the Airwick. The new Nivea deodorant Invisible for black and white. No white deodorant stains on black. And for the first time, no yellow stains on white. Black stays black, white stays white, and you stay 48 hours protected. New Invisible for black and white deodorant from Nivea. 100 years of skincare for life. To win, visit www.niveainvisible.co.ke.
A very good evening and thank you for joining us on KTN Business today. This is your home of business, and as always, my name is Zawadi. Mudibo. Now we begin on a rather interesting note where shares of listed firms Centum plunged 13% at the Nairobi Securities Exchange after the firm reported a 40% fall in its full-year profits. Now this, analysts say, or rather noted, that was as a result of the firm's failure to issue a profit warning as expected by the regulator in the event that profits would fall below the 25% mark. Philip Keitani has those details.
According to Moria, the group's pre-tax profit fell by 1.7 billion shillings in the year to March, with the cost of credit increasing sharply to more than 20%. The firm was impacted on by volatility in the foreign currency market and tight liquidity throughout the year.
And what you're trying to do is to consistently deliver returns that exceed what you'd otherwise get in the market.
During the same period, the Kenyan shilling plunged 25% against the dollar, touching on historical lows in the first half of the firm financial year. In an attempt to rein on the high volatility, the Central Bank of Kenya adopted a high monetary policy that saw lending rates head north. Moria said earnings per share for the year fell to 1.79 shillings from 3.44 shillings.
It's one thing to have a great strategy. It's quite another to execute. And that was the issue around the brand.
The results sent the firm shares tumbling at the Nairobi Securities Exchange, with analysts questioning why the firm never issued a profit warning as required by the rules of the Capital Market Authority. The group now says it will focus on growing its assets under management to 30 billion shillings by the year 2014. Philip Keitani for KTN Business Today.
Now, Microsoft has unveiled Surface, its own brand family of tablets. Now, the touchscreen computers will be powered by its upcoming Windows 8 system and contain a choice of Intel or ARM-based processor. The tablet now pitches the firm against Apple's best-selling iPad with a device that can run standard applications such as its own Office programs and Photoshop. However, it puts Microsoft in competition with other manufacturers planning to release the tablet designed for Windows 8. The company's chief executive, Steve Ballmer, said he wanted to give the software, and I quote, its own companion hardware. Now, the devices have 10.6-inch or 26.9 centimeters displays, built-in kickstands, and are housed in magnesium cases, which the company described as the first of their kind. The ARM-based tablets are 9.3 millimeters or 0.4 inches thick, slightly less than the iPad. Now, moving on, we look at an investment opportunity where the cost of fuel and pump prices could reduce by as much as 5 shillings in the upcoming months. Now, this follows the announcement of a construction of an oil terminal at Konza by oil marketing firm PetroCity.
The cost of fuel in the country takes into account several components, key among them demurrage charges. These are costs incurred by vessels waiting to discharge at the port of Mombasa and related delays. However, this is expected to change in the coming months if the 1.5 billion shilling terminal being constructed by the oil marketer becomes a reality.
Truck transportation is maybe about 2 shillings 50 cents more expensive than pipeline to transport. And the demurrage cost currently, I think ERC is putting anything from 2 shillings to 4 shillings on the demurrage. So if this demurrage is reduced or eliminated, we are looking at a good saving of anything from 2 to 4 shillings per litre just on saving of the costs.
With more turnaround, with more throughput locally and inland, you reduce the cost of demurrage. The cost of transportation by pipeline is also lower, and therefore we expect ERC to take into account the lower cost of transportation and therefore actually pass that benefit to the consumer.
The facility is expected to cater for the growing demand of fuel in Nairobi and western parts of the country. According to its design, it is estimated to have a capacity of more than 150 million litres. Additionally, the project will also feature 1-month reserve stock for use in the country in case of shipment delays.
The second phase will have between 120 to 150 million litres of stock.
The terminal is located close to the Kenya Pipelines Pump 8 station in Konza. This means that it will make it easier for oil marketers to load their products and make it available to consumers in record time.
We are excited that we have a private company now investing in facilities, in infrastructure that is going to ease the congestion in Nairobi in Nanyuki Road.
Currently, oil marketers have only the KPC depot along Nanyuki Road in Nairobi to load their products, a fact that has resulted in slow turnaround of petroleum products in the market. Joseph Bonyo, KTN Business Today.
Now, Kenya's second largest bank by asset base, Equity Bank, has said it will not revise its base lending rate beyond the 25% ceiling it set for itself, despite higher rates administered by other players in the market. Now, this emerged when the bank's chief executive officer, James Mwangi, who recently won the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year award, paid a courtesy call to the Standard Group Center.
Equity Bank Chief Executive James Mwangi maintained Equity Bank will not be revising its best lending rates upwards beyond its self-imposed ceiling of 25% anytime soon, despite the high interest rates regime that has seen commercial banks lend at as high as 32%.
Equity chose to cap its interest rates at 25, while the average interest in the banking industry is 32, to provide that leadership. That yes, we can cap our interest rates to where the treasury bills were.
Mwangi says a high interest rate regime will pile more pressure on the cost of borrowing, making credit access beyond the reach of many.
Equity also would like to be fairly responsible and not to distort the objectives of the monetary policy. At the moment, interest rates are high to try and tame inflation and at the same time stabilize the exchange rate.
We commend the central bank effort in managing and reining in inflation. I think given the level of inflation now, it is beginning to be imperative for the Monetary Policy Committee to consider adjusting rate downwards so as to ease pressure on the cost of borrowing.
James Mwangi, who has been named the Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, points out the lack of automation in the government procedures as an impediment to business in the country.
You would imagine the benefit in terms of efficiency that this country would leap if we completely computerized our ports.
Equity, which started off as a building society, has grown to be the second largest bank by asset base, with branches in the region.
Now time to get a glance at what happened at the financial markets today. We wind up KTN Business Today. My name is Zawadi Mudibo. Good night.
Helps people invest to secure their future. With this experience comes much wisdom. do great things. Drostihof Sauvignon Blanc is a white wine best known for its grassy herbal flavors. Sauvignon Blanc is also called Fume Blanc and is a popular choice for fish, shellfish dishes and poultry dishes. Drostihof. Every year is a good year.
It has been happening in Nairobi, but Omera, this time round, it is coming in Kisumu. I'm talking about Rumba Night with Radio Maisa. It's going to be on Jumatano, or if you want to call it Wednesday, 20th June, inside Signature Hotel Omera. Not forgetting one and the only one. The grand DJ Matozibora will be bringing his things. Also, presenters kama watangazaji watakuwa ndani. Omelaya wa Kisumu that day. Yakiwa itakuwa moto kama pasi. Ukikosa watakucheka. Okay.
Welcome to the sport. Now, we know that he's been fired, but just a few hours prior to his sacking, a defiant Harambee Stars coach Francis Kimanzi had said that he would not resign over the national team's elimination from the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers. Kimanzi defended his selection criteria, maintaining that all is not lost for Kenya. Victor Ogali was at the airport and takes up the rest of that story.
The scenes at a popular Forex bureau at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport soon after the Stars team arrived from their field trip to Togo spoke of a team which is well taken care of, though they did not take care of the wishes of the Kenyans at large. The man of the moment, coach Francis Kimanzi, could still afford a smile in the face of disillusionment following the back-to-back losses in Namibia and Lome in Togo.
Playing away in Africa can be very, very difficult, so you ought to take all the advantages at home.
And the litany of excuses followed.
He entered the field on a fixed mind, the referee. So we are going to we have complained in Togo, and we are going to write to CAF as well.
There is the notion that probably the national team has a sponsorship. That sponsorship is paltry.
Football Kenya Federation hinted on Monday that changes are inevitable given the string of bad results despite improved training structures and payment of allowances.
The management is not part and parcel of the tactical approach of the games. That solely rests on the coach and the technical bench.
Before Malawi match, I think himself he said that he has prepared the team to play Malawi and is okay, even if he has not played any friendly match.
You know, we are a very negative society in terms of trying to support our own stuff and our own things. And that's why you see when we play at home, we are only criticizing it. When other people play at home in West Africa, they support everything. Whether they steal it from you, they don't care, but they need a win.
The team did not return to Kenya with goalkeeper Arnold Lurigi, who headed straight to Norway soon after the match to attend to club duty. Harambee Stars could be likened to a battalion that went out on an ambush, but instead got ambushed with all their arsenal confiscated. And their hopes now entirely lie on special forces who were yet to come to their rescue. And as it is the norm, Kenyans will have to wait till the year 2014 for yet another round of qualifiers. Victor Ugale, KTN at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, Nairobi.
London Olympics-bound marathoner Emmanuel Mutai has undertaken to ensure that he repays Kenyans by winning a medal in the August Games. Mutai,